The world of Formula One racing may seem an unobtainable dream to most of us, but there are ways to get your start in motorsport and take part in a genuine FIA racing series without needing millions of pounds in sponsorship to get there. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be following someone who's doing just that.
For the last decade, I've sort of been squirreling money away with the specific intention of going motor racing. This is a car with no drive aids whatsoever. There's no power steering, there's no ABS, there's no traction control, there's no stability controls. I have to keep reminding myself that this is what I want to do. It's becoming that feeling rather than, oh my God, I can't believe it's come around so quickly, and what the hell am I thinking, and why are you doing this? All those things that just sort of rush through your head on the morning of your first race. My first memory of motorsport as a kid was the Grand Prix on a Sunday. The voice of Murray Walker is basically the sound of my childhood. I remember my mum going to a toy shop and trying for ages to work out which car I'd want, and she came back with the Lancia Delta Integrale in the Martini livery. I wish I still had that actually. I think I probably ran it along the carpet until the wheels fell off. I'd be sort of walking to school and pretending to do gear changes and stuff as if I'm taking the racing line to school.
Mike Channell is a video game journalist and co-host of Outside Xbox. He's made a successful career out of talking about games, but deep down Mike has another passion: motorsport. His whole life it's been something to enjoy from afar, on TV and with toys, books and movies, but now Mike has decided to make that dream more of a reality. This year I have bought a racing car, and I'm going to be embarking upon the GRDC, the Ginetta Racing Drivers Club, which is entry level, designed specifically for novices. It's a series of 8 races across 4 weekends in the Ginetta G40, which is a small 2-seater racing car essentially, but it's also road legal. So one of the strange things about Ginetta is they're only half an hour away from my childhood home. So today we're going to go and pick up the racing car. I haven't driven a Ginetta G40. I'm basically putting my trust in Ginetta that it's a great car. So this is genuinely going to be the first time I get in that car and drive away. As a kid, I think if you told me I would be able to drive a racing car myself, it would have blown my tiny mind. To make this happen, I've pretty much blown all my savings. And so for the last decade, I've sort of been squirreling money away with the specific intention of going motor racing. And it's sort of amazing that I've kind of got here. It feels almost surreal that the day has come. I think at that moment when the lights go out on the first race, I'm going to be terrified. I'm going to be actually terrified. There's definitely a small part of me inside going, you know what, you could just not do it. You could just, don't spend the money, don't do it. It would be challenging and scary and difficult, but equally I know this is what I want to do. It's sort of going to be ticking off all these places that I used to watch on television on sort of hallowed asphalt. Paddock Hill Bend, watching Senna in the Lotus 98T flying through there on that qualifying lap. It's weird to think I will be racing there.
So Mike is really doing it. After years of saving up, he is making his childhood dreams come true and buying a race car, and with it a spot on the 2018 GRDC grid. There's a long way to go before that first race though, and today is the first step: getting his hands on the keys at the Ginetta factory. Hayley Hickman runs the GRDC for Ginetta, and Mike caught up with her to find out more about what's in store for him.
All right, so Hayley, you run GRDC.
I do indeed.
Which I've just signed up for. I've been wandering around the factory, which I'm like a kid in a candy store.
They're all
so
here.
many beautiful cars. The G40 specifically is the one that my car will be when we go and collect it. What am I in for, essentially?
So we take you every step of the way, and we will take you from getting your ARDS test right the way through to that first race meeting.
That is what I'm most terrified about, is that first, sitting on the grid for the first time.
It is terrifying, but the fantastic thing about the GRDC is that you're going to be sitting there looking at all these other people going, they're in the same boat as me.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's fabulous, because that's what the whole GRDC is about.
Yeah, that's the thing that really appeals to me about it, is that you guys run the cars for the first season, right? You look after the mechanical side. My mechanical knowledge is basic and functional, but not really like race ready.
We give you a base setup, which is how your car's going to leave the factory today, on the base setup. And you can't change it. So you race that car in that setup, and that gives us the level playing field that we want for everybody in their first year.
Handing over the keys would be Iain Fletcher, sales manager for Ginetta, who explained to Mike just how Ginetta gets motorsport fanatics like him into racing cars and on the grid.
So for people who aren't like entirely familiar with what Ginetta is, what can you tell me about the company? What's the kind of ethos?
Well, we can take you from your first ever race, how to get into racing, all the way up to LMP1 Formula. We'll take you from absolutely from grandstand to grid, really.
How important is it for the GRDC that the car is like a road legal car that the drivers can use on the road?
The ethos behind GRDC is that you can put your kit in the boot, drive it to the track, do your races, the car's looked after by Ginetta, and you can drive it home again.
And there's a famous story with the G40 that you had a 24-hour race at Silverstone where the car was driven to the circuit, won its class, and then was driven home again, right?
Quite right, yes. Yeah, and that was the start of GRDC, and it can be done. The GRDC is such a great, lightweight, drivable, reliable package that you can do that with your own car. It doesn't need to be a factory effort.
In terms of the car itself, what can I sort of expect? Because it's a very sort of raw driving experience.
Harder brakes,
Yep.
you know, real feel through that pedal as you push harder. You've got no ABS, you've got no servo assistance. You're in for real steering feel. You know, there's no power assistance. When you turn that wheel, the car's turning in.
Yeah.
You're in for noise. It's very, very low car as well.
Yeah.
You're really in for a driving experience like nothing else really on the road. It's pure driving, and it is really a pure racing car for the road.
Certainly that was one of the things that appealed to me was how safe it is. You know, it's not a fantastically powerful car, but it's so robustly built, and you know, safety is at the heart of what you've built here.
It is designed to be safe for you and the passenger because of the road element, but certainly for you as a racing driver, when you get this car on track, you can feel safe. It's a confidence-giving car, not only from the safety aspect, but from the driving position, the way that you feel in the car. Everything's geared around you, the driver.
What I love about this is you've got all the G40s here, and you guys are screwing an LMP1 together upstairs, right? I'm not allowed to see it yet,
No.
but you guys are in LMP1 next year.
We are, yeah. We're going back to top level sports car and endurance racing, all from the factory here in Leeds.
And you get a lot of people sticking with the Ginetta family, so they start at this sort of level in juniors maybe, and they're still there racing your GT cars and your prototypes and things like that.
Very much so, yeah. We've got guys that have gone through GRDC in year one, up through GT5, Super Cup, LMP, Formula, and you know, at least one of those guys should be racing an LMP1 in a few years' time.
Very exciting, very exciting. All right, I don't think I can wait any longer. Can we please go and see my car?
Let's go and see your car. There she is.
Yeah, that is unreal. I can't quite believe it's mine.
It certainly is.
And they're so low. I was saying this inside, but they're, you know, it's just about comes up to my hip, basically, this thing. Tell me a bit about the car. What are the key sort of
Okay,
figures?
so we've got a 1.8 Z-Tech engine under the bonnet, 135 horsepower, Ginetta throttle bodies, diff at the rear, 5-speed H-pattern gearbox, about 900 kilograms, 17-inch alloy wheels, and a great handling, absolute joy to drive.
Right.
That's what you've got here.
So on the race car side, you guys have worked on this 1.8 Z-Tech engine yourselves. What have you done to it to make it sort of race ready?
So we put some Ginetta designed throttle bodies on it, and we've got a cold air intake as well. The air filter's right at the front, feeding all the cold air from the bottom of the air intake there. And we've got a bespoke engine map on it. So it takes it from the standard 115 horsepower, gives it about 20 horsepower more in a car that weighs around about 900 kilograms. So you've got plenty of power to weight. It feels so agile. It's powerful for what it is. It really is. So you'll enjoy driving this car everywhere.
And I can pop the steering wheel off if I want to take it home.
You can indeed, yeah.
Sit on my sofa and play with the steering wheel.
Whatever takes your fancy really, mate. Whatever you do with that steering wheel at home is entirely up to you. But yeah, we've got a quick release steering wheel.
What I love about it is you've got the regular seatbelt for road driving, and then you've got the harnesses for business time, basically.
That's right, you can indulge your fancies at any time with this car. We've got a race-derived exhaust system on this car as well. So a 4-branch manifold into a single exit rear from the centre of the car. Real fruity sound from this. Real old English sounding racing car. Really,
Amazing.
really lovely.
At the risk of going all the only way is Essex, that sounds proper naughty. You've heard it all before though, haven't you? And more. But for me, it's
great.
Yeah, it's awesome. The pedals are really close together as well. Is that for sort of heel and towing?
Yeah, it's racing pedal box across all the applications. It keeps you keep you honest on the track.
What are my percentage chances of stalling? What do you reckon?
50% plus.
Fair enough.
Everybody does.
I can live with those odds. Yeah.
Enjoy your drive.
Awesome. Driving the car for the first time was unreal. I mean, when I'm kind of rolling around in the car park, it was terrifying. It was completely alien. It felt like I had way too much throttle. The clutch was really heavy. The brakes need a really, really good shove. But then we got out onto the road and the entire thing sort of came alive. Suddenly the steering's light again, and the brakes seem to make sense, and the gear changes are really nice and smooth. So yeah, it was almost like a sort of transformational moment. It's a real occasion. It feels like a race car. You've got the cage around you. There's weird smells coming from the the glue on the dash and all sorts of stuff. It really feels like unlike a road car. So there's something quite sort of illicit about driving it around on the road. I'm going to be modest and say I'm not going to be at the top end fighting for victories in the GRDC, I don't think. But if I'm in the midfield, and as long as I've got someone to battle with, as long as I'm dicing during a race, that's all I'm really here for. I'm a motorsport fan, I watch it on television, but I don't have any inherent talent, but I would love to be in there in the mix. It's been a bit like a sort of Christmas experience, waiting to open your presents today. It was great to look around the factory and talk to the people involved, but there's nothing quite like seeing the car for the first time, getting in, driving it. These days, cars are they baby you so much, they flatter your driving so much. I can't wait to become a better driver in this car.
Mike has a long way to go before he's grid ready, but Carfection are going to follow him every step of the way to find out just what it takes to go from an armchair viewer of motorsport to the last checkered flag of a full racing season. Is it your dream to one day take part in a racing series? Make sure you subscribe to Carfection to follow the whole story and find out how.